Hey there, Jim here with Ludus Games, and I'm here. Wanted to do this video for a while. We're going to talk about Magic the Gathering counterfeit cards. That's some music going in the background. We got to cut it off, so because YouTube doesn't like if they, it's one way that YouTube can shut down your videos if you play music coming off of YouTube. Nonetheless, I think if you're going to play music, if it's off of YouTube, as long as you credit it and talk about it, and I think it should be fine. So, what do we want to talk about? We want to talk about counterfeit cards. We know that they're out there, and up front, full disclosure, full disclaimer, I'm not here to support counterfeit cards. They're out there, they're available, people are buying them. That's all I'm going to say about that. Obviously, there's some issues with copyright infringements, I would imagine, and I'm sure that Wizards of the Coast has issue there, but that's not for us to go over. They are out there, and I did buy a bunch. So I have my here. Let me bring up my other cam. Hopefully, it's still on. There we go. All right, we got that. So I got a bunch of them. No, these are all the counterfeit cards that I got. I bought 2 sets, and the guy sent me as a sort of like a thank you, some extra cards. And these are from the new set that they have, and like they are producing them with the foils now. I mean, card quality is good. It doesn't look bad. The color is close. Very quickly. If you didn't know any better, you would not be able to recognize this. Now, if you're a store, a brick and mortar, or anybody trading, familiarize yourself with these. I would suggest trying to get a hold of some, and in this way you can understand what the differences are, so you can tell, especially if you're buying and selling as a store owner or whatnot. So now that and this one is an expedition. Now they're supposed to be foil. This is not foil, but it does have that little foil image. Just wanted to show that again, right? So that's what you get there. So that was that's from, I guess, our new sets. But again, I'm not here to endorse or anything. I'm here just to show you the product, and I'm going to show you. You can get, here are the lands, okay, that you get. I don't know if you can see that. I will thumb through them. It's all the lands that you would need. I mean, you don't need any more than what's here, right? And we'll talk about, well, what's the purpose of these things? Why even get this if you're gonna get them? And again, there's some sensitivity about this topic, but I think what we need to do is to embrace it and talk about it and see, where as a community or as an organization, we can work towards living with this. Because a lot of, see, these cards are reserve list cards. They're never going to be reprinted, and they're expensive. You want to play a game and test a deck and build a deck, you have to invest a lot of resources to get these cards, right? And for the most part, I mean, especially with me, I play casual format. I'm not here to be competitive. I think if I was going to be competitive, I think the important thing would be to invest. I mean, you invest in your ability to be competitive. Oh, I left a card up here. I need to get that. So there's a couple of lands, but I left them till the end. I want to talk about that as the last little bit. But so let's talk about these for a second. Now, I don't know if you can tell. Probably can't. But it's off. It's in a sleeve, and I know it's a bit shiny. But the color is off. If I put this next to the original, you'll notice a color difference. There's also it seems to be offset the printing seems to be more to the left than to the right. If you can catch that, I don't know if I can. You can catch it on this one, but let me see if I find one that is better. Yeah, this is Steve Vance. You can notice it. So if you look at, well, let me got a new setup going. So here we go. You notice there's a difference in border. So that's something to keep an eye out. I've noticed that there's a trend where the image is not quite centered properly. So that's one thing to look out for when you're you know, potentially trading. If you're looking for counterfeits. Now, Magic the Gathering cards are known to be, you know, off-cut, off-centered. That's fine, but that's one thing to notice about these. The next group I want to talk about here would be the mana rocks, or the artifacts, I should say. Not all mana rocks, obviously, but you have a few of them, and they're good ones. Cryptic, Mana Crypt, Sensei's Top, Oblivion Stone, Spellskite, Chrome Mox, and Crucible of Worlds. Now, like you can notice the color difference in these two bad boys. You notice? Well, sorry, my new setup. I gotta figure out how to bypass the sleep mode. But anyways, so like there's a difference in color there. I know there's a glare from my light. So let me just shift that there. So there you go. Okay. There is a difference, okay? But they give you some decent artifacts that you can use. Mana Crypt's at $100. If you wanted to buy one of these to put in a casual, let's say EDH deck, and that's what I play. I play EDH. So if I want to run multiple decks, I gotta have multiple Mana Crypts if I want in them all in my deck, and that's like if I run 4 decks, that's $400 or more, even depending on the version you want to buy. Go over creatures. 2 Tarmogoyfs, Vidillion Click, Snapcaster, Gristlebrand, Crater Huff. There's and again, the coloring is off on these cards. Geist, Iona, Emrakul, Azusa, Elish, as you can see, Goblin Guide, and Metalworker. These are all staples in a lot of casual formats you could play casually. Obviously, you know, modern and whatnot, you could play these cards. And certainly, if you're playing competitive and sanctioned events, you need to use legitimate, authentic cards. If you get caught playing with these, they're not official proxies. They're not allowed in tournaments. You're going to get yourself in trouble. I wouldn't be surprised if you got kicked out of the tournament or even banned at that point. So, you know, these are not to be played other than casual. If you're going to use them at all in any space, it'd be casual play. So I'm going to look at the enchantments. You have Blood Moon, Leyline Sanctity, Splinter Twin, Bitter Blossom, Land Tax, and Counterbalance. Again, you know, the quality is decent on these cards. They feel a little rough when you're actually touching them. They're not in protectors. They don't shuffle as nice if they're bareback against the other cards. That's one way to tell. And the coloring's off. And the alignment. Is there one here? Even this Land Tax, the alignment is off. It's narrower on the left side than it is on the right. So that's one thing to pay attention to. You've got Planeswalkers, Karn, Liliana the Veil, and Jace the Mind Sculptor. Again, these are just been unbanned in modern, so even more relevant spells. I will talk about the spells: Abrupt Decay, Damnation, Path, Flusterstorm, Remand, Berserk, Mana Drain, and Force of Will. And I'm going to say this: This Force of Will, let's see if I can get it there, is really nice. Very close. It'd be hard for someone to tell on this particular card whether it's a forgery or not. But I will point out what I've noticed. Let me see if I can find another. Here we go. We'll put it up against Flusterstorm. If you look at the mana symbols, there we go. This blue mana symbol versus this one. Hold on, let's see if we can get this into like good focus. You notice the difference there? Oh, it's still glare. Too many computer screens. There we go. There's a difference. So, one way to tell when you're dealing with these cards, if you're looking, check out the mana symbols. Make sure it looks right for the time and the place. These may be accurate, but they definitely are different. I traded away my old Force of Will for I cracked a foil one, so I don't have one to compare it to, but that might be accurate. But when I look at it next to Mana Drain, there's still a bit of a difference in symbols. Or maybe it's hard to tell from here, but that's one thing to look at as well. But my point is, this is very hard to tell. If this was in a binder and trading, you can easily trade this to somebody who didn't know any better, and you got the best of them, which is something I want to talk about in this video. But there's that, and then you have your Power 9. Right, I left one out because it's in a pile that I want to talk about right now after this. So there's Time Walk, Recall, Lotus, and all the Moxes. Okay, so there you go. Again, pretty good quality. I'm not going to complain about that in terms of the cards. And for me, just so you know, I see these as proxy cards. They're proxy cards. I already have them. Some of them I don't, like the Power 9s. I don't have any. I traded some away years ago. I had 2 pieces, I think, and they're gone. Anyways, I don't have any, so I don't have any of those. But the other, like the dual lands and all that, I have my copies. But again, if I want to run multiple decks, I enjoy playing the Commander format. It's casual where I play. It's not competitive. Well, I correct myself. It is competitive within our play groups, but it's a casual format. I'm not going to be spending to build like a numerous, like let's say I want to have 5 different decks. I'm not going to go and spend dual lands for each of these decks. It's not competitive. I'm not playing in sanctioned events, so it's there's no need for that. I'm just having some tabletop fun. So we'll get into that. So the reasoning for these cards, if they're out there, and what you should be doing with them if you have them. So now I have this group of cards here. You'll see the one of the Power 9. These are cards, I think for the most part, they're all legal in Commander. And that's the format that I play. Oops, there was my camera again. I really got to fix that, and I apologize. So we'll work that out. Anyway, so these are cards that I don't own in my collection that I got. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24 cards, right? We'll go through them. But so I went online. I picked a vendor. You can use whatever, Star City, Card Kingdom, Channel Fireball, whatever you want, and I went 10 and I was buying them. I put them in my cart online, and this pile of cards here would cost me close to $11,000 US. It's not really attainable, for a guy in my situation. I have a family, wife, and kids, mortgage, bills, and the rest of that jazz, to go out for casual play to be buying these cards. I just don't have the capital to do that. And boo-hoo, people, say, well, that's your problem, nobody else's. But, you want to be able to play this. And, the more competitive you get in your play groups, the more you need some of these cards to play. Like, here's Candelabra, right? This card alone is, what, over $1,000? Or close to it, $700, whatever. Just to buy this, which this leads to all kinds of infinite combos. It's a lot of money. Same with this guy, right? So you want to play a casual deck, and I don't like proxies where you write the card or whatever. I like to be able to look at it, read it, and make it feel like it's authentic when I'm playing it. And as long as you communicate, that's the other thing. As long as you're honest with people you play with, say, hey man, guys, do you mind? I have proxy, I have the card, or I don't have the card. I have an Imperial seal that's a proxy. It's in my deck. I hope you guys don't mind if I'm playing it. And if your play group is okay with that, Bob's your uncle. Go out there and have fun and play these cards. But so it's reasons like this where it costs that much money to have cards like Imperial Recruiter just got reprinted in M25, but it's still expensive. It's still hard to get at unless you're willing to dish out $100 for a copy. And I don't have one in my collection, so now I can go ahead and casually put in a deck and build a deck that I was thinking about and see if it's worth me buying it, see if it's worth me playing it. Right? So and again, so I'm not endorsing any of this. It's out there. The people are going to get it, and if they want to find it, they can find it. We won't go into the ethics of buying these or not buying these. What I'm going to say to people is, if you buy them, okay, I'm going to pick up all these cards here and show you something. If you buy them and you get them, what you should do is immediately mark the cards. Just mark them. I've taken permanent marker and marked each one of these with an X on the back. They all have, I don't know if you guys can see that yet. They all are marked permanent marker with an X. So if anyone sees a card like this out there with an X on it, and someone's trying to trade it to you as legit, it's not. So I permanently mark them as soon as I get them. So A, I don't mix them with my cards that I have in my collection, and B, I know if I start putting them in decks and then moving them out, they're not legitimate, and I can put them aside and not try to trade them to people. And that's ultimately one of the reasons why I drove to do this video, is because I had a friend that lost a lot of money and traded for a card. The card is the one that I mentioned, this guy. So he traded for a counterfeit. He didn't know it was a counterfeit and gave value back, whatever this card is valued at. Let's, for argument's sake, it's $1,000. He traded $1,000 worth of cards for this and got scammed. And that is wrong. And if you're out there doing that, that karma is going to come back tenfold. It's not good. Don't do that to people. These cards are, if we're going to say what am I going to use these for, Jim? Let me see. I wrote down some notes here. Casual play. You want to play casually, you play EDH like myself, and you want to build a bunch of decks, and you want to have some of these cards to try out. Oops, there's my... That's annoying. I apologize. Anyway, so, you casual play, and they act as proxies. They are proxies. You want to build a cube. You want a Power 9 cube. You don't want to spend, your first mortgage payment to buy a Power 9, the originals. I mean, if you put yourself in the economic position to do so, by all means, go ahead. I mean, if I was in that situation, I would. But, so you want to run a cube, a Power 9 cube. Well, don't go and waste that money. You want to build any other cube. You want to play test. So you're building a legacy deck, you're building a modern deck, whatever format you're playing, except for standard, any of the older formats, and you don't want to dish out, thousands of dollars on a playset on one of these duels. You buy this, you put it together, see if it works for you. And then if you're going to be serious and want to play the deck, then you go out and invest the money. And certainly I do endorse that, if you're going to be playing in sanctioned and competitive events around in the formats, you have to invest in legitimate product. But if you're going to play test, you want to build a cube, play in your brick and mortars that allow proxies, and just general casual play, this is, the way to go, unfortunately. Unless Magic, would be nice, maybe a thought to the people at Wizards, you print these as proxy cards. There's all this rumor and innuendo around the reserve list, and really nobody really knows except the people at HQ, HQ meaning, behind Magic front offices, or MTGO or MTG front offices. Only those people really know what's the deal. But it'd be nice if they could print proxy. It's clearly marked. Maybe the backing is different, and you can customize it to say, okay, you can buy 20 proxy cards for $50 or whatever it is, $1 a card, not 50 cards for $50, and you get to choose. And they have a list. I want 4 bad lands and 4 of these, and and you can pick and choose. Maybe offer that as a product to people. It would probably help to stymie any of this counterfeit business, because at the end of the day, really, what comes out of this, the biggest negative, which has me, kind of concerned about the proxies, is that people are going to scam. If you give people an opportunity to be untruthful for gains, they're going to do that. Unfortunately, human greed is, it is the way it is. So it's out there. Anyway, so it's up to you. If you understand them as proxies, and you get them and you mark them immediately, and distinguish them as, they're just there for me to enjoy playing the game, as a way to proxy in some duels without breaking the bank, then I say go ahead. Essentially, that's why I got this, so that I can, as I'm building decks, I can just swap these in and out. I don't care. Even if I travel with these in my deck and something happens to them, I'm not that worried. Right? The only time I'm going to travel with the authentic ones is if I'm, playing at home, or if I'm playing in a sanctioned event that requires me to have originals. So there's that, Anyway, hopefully this can generate some sort of understanding. If there's any questions, let's continue the discussion on this issue. Right? And again, there's sort of foils, and the more this is in the marketplace, the more it's going to generate issues. So we have to decide whether we're okay with this or not. Wizards has to. I would, like to know what Wizards' opinion is on these, and they should release a statement. I know it's hard when you're talking about other countries and other laws that protect copyrights in other countries. It's difficult. I certainly imagine it's not an easy thing. Maybe in some sense Wizards is happy because, hey, they've agreed not to print reserve list cards, and this is a way that they can get some reserve list proxy type stuff into the marketplace and into people's hands, because they can't reprint this stuff. So I hope you enjoyed that, and I hope this is a video that that some of you will like. Certainly, if there's something you'd like to further to talk about or to examine, I'd love to do that. Just let me know in the comments. and I can take that direction. So go out there, enjoy yourselves. Make sure you discuss with your play groups about your proxies. Make sure you mark any counterfeits that you have. Don't let them out there, you know, without markings on them. And I suggest, you know, you put a black little marker in the back. Take it, permanently mark that guy, you know, and it's there. You try to erase that off. That's, you know, damage the card. And hopefully, you know, this is about talking about a subject that people don't really necessarily like to talk about. They know it's out there, and that it helps you in your play groups. So I hope you enjoyed that, and we'll catch you next time. Peace. Now I gotta find the button. All these screens and controls. Anyways, guys, I'm out. See ya.